In a land where snow from the north met bamboo forests of the east, a Viking berserker wandered with his axe gleaming in the moonlight, muttering about honor battles and mead, while far away in a valley filled with peach blossoms, a Kung Fu Panda stretched lazily after a nap, thinking mostly about dumplings. Destiny, being mischievous as always, decided that these two beings, so different in every way, would meet in a contest that no one really asked for, but that everyone would later talk about as one of the strangest matchups in history. The berserker marched across mountains yelling at the wind and frightening goats, while the panda rolled down hills, accidentally squashing melons and laughing. Word spread quickly that a northern warrior had arrived, and the animals of the valley whispered that perhaps the Kung Fu Panda should represent them in whatever bizarre duel was coming. The berserker expected roaring dragons or armies, but instead he found a panda bowing politely, though clumsily, nearly tripping over his own paws. The berserker blinked and shouted that he wanted to test strength, courage, and endurance. The panda nodded, but asked if snacks would be provided. They agreed to begin with a trial of shouting. The berserker's roar echoed through the valley, making birds scatter, while the panda tried his best and produced more of a squeaky hiccup that made the berserker laugh so hard he nearly dropped his axe. Then came a test of balance on slippery rocks in the river. The berserker stood firmly like an oak tree while the panda wobbled, spun, and fell in with a splash, yet somehow surfaced, balancing a fish on his belly, which made all the onlookers cheer. The berserker did not understand how failure could look like victory, but the panda grinned, with dumpling, like confidence. Next they wrestled, the berserker wrapping his mighty arms around the panda only for the panda to roll with the momentum, tumbling them both down a grassy slope until they landed in a heap of flowers. Neither knew who had won, but both admitted the fall was funnier than the fight. They tried racing across fields, the berserker's stride long and powerful, while the panda bounced and rolled, and though the Viking crossed the line first, the crowd adored the panda's dramatic tumble finish. The berserker grew restless, for he wanted a clear winner, yet every trial ended in confusion, laughter, or food. When they tested endurance by sitting still for meditation, the berserker fidgeted angrily, while the panda snored peacefully, and everyone agreed that sleep counted as deep focus. The Viking tried lifting boulders and shouted in triumph as he raised one above his head, but the panda simply leaned on it until it rolled down the hill, flattening a patch of weeds, and he called that gardening victory. Slowly, the berserker began to realize that this opponent was impossible to measure with normal rules. His victories were accidents, his defeats cheerful, and every moment seemed to turn into a story. The sun set, and torches lit up around the valley. The crowd gathered eager for more trials, and the berserker felt both admiration and frustration. He had never met an opponent who fought with naps and snacks, yet somehow kept winning hearts. The Kung Fu Panda, meanwhile, wondered if there would be noodles after all this noise, and whether friendship might taste better than glory. As night deepened, the berserker demanded one final contest, something undeniable that would settle the matter once and for all. He slammed his axe into the ground and declared a trial of courage inside the shadowed bamboo grove, where strange noises whispered among the stalks. The panda gulped nervously, but waddled forward, munching on a dumpling for strength, and the berserker followed, gripping his axe tight. In the darkness, glowing eyes of monkeys and owls stared back. But the panda bowed politely and offered a crumb, which made the animals calm, while the berserker roared until the branches shook. The judges outside debated who had shown greater bravery, but the grove itself seemed to prefer the panda's gentleness. The Viking grew more frustrated and challenged the panda to a contest of martial skill. At last, the panda adopted his clumsy Kung Fu stance arms, flailing like windmills. The berserker charged like a storm, and the clash sent echoes through the valley. Yet every time the axe swung, the panda rolled or tripped by accident, causing the berserker to stumble, fall into mud, or crash into trees. What looked like incompetence became the ultimate defense, and even the berserker began laughing between grunts. He swung harder, and the panda ducked at the last second, making the Viking smash a watermelon that had been left from the harvest, spraying sweet juice everywhere. The crowd cheered, and children collected slices, while the panda slurped happily. Exhausted and bewildered, the berserker dropped his axe, realizing that no matter how strong he was, the panda could not be beaten, because defeat did not exist in his world. The panda did not fight to win, but to play, to eat, to enjoy, and in such a contest, there could never be a loser. The berserker raised the panda's paw and shouted that he had found a worthy rival, not in strength, but in spirit. The valley roared with joy, and fireworks crackled across the night sky, startling both warrior and panda. They sat side by side at a long table filled with dumplings, fish, bread, and honey, eating more than any battle could ever satisfy. The berserker learned that laughter filled the stomach better than glory, and the panda learned that even fierce warriors could be friends once their bellies were full. When dawn came, the berserker prepared to journey back to the north with stories stranger than any saga, telling his people that somewhere beyond the seas there lived a creature who fought with naps and noodles, yet toppled the strongest with joy. The panda waved with sticky paws, promising that if ever the Viking returned, he should bring mead, because dumplings were already guaranteed. And so the tale ended, not with victory or defeat, but with a feast and a friendship. And the valley fell into peaceful sleep, while the northern lights shimmered above, carrying laughter into dreams.